Hello everyone, just a quick catch-up video for the last couple of days. There's a couple of games that have happened. I don't think anything else has happened, is there, for over the last week? I'm trying to think if there's any kind of controversy or anything. Doesn't seem to be anything. Oh, maybe that'll come to me as we discuss the games and off-field activities in a week for Arsenal Football Club, which is becoming a standard week now. So we'll start with the Crystal Palace game. Another 2-2, another 2 goals dropped. Defending at the moment out the window, and it's a weird situation because we've got defenders coming back, and then cup matches they've looked really good. Bellerin, Tierney, Holding. You know, they've looked like a unit. But our first team, at the moment, hasn't been great. But then we're trying to integrate the other guys back in. And you can't really do it all in one hit because that will destabilise the team at the back. But it looks like they're destabilised already. So I would say from now on, if they're fit, they've got to go. You've got to, I think, personally, back 5 would be Leno in goal, Bellerin, Tierney, obviously. I would play Holding and David Luiz. I know that might seem weird, but I think David Luiz alongside Rob Holding, David Luiz has got more pace than Socrates and Mustafi. He makes mistakes, but not as many as Mustafi, and he's got a better passing ability than Socrates. So if you could mix the two of Socrates and Luiz together and play him alongside Rob Holding, you'd have a decent centre half there. But I think that's the way you'd have to go for the back line, because at the moment there's just something's not clicking, and we're playing square pegs and round holes again, really, with Chambers, who's done really well at right back. He's done really well, but that's not his position, which means that Angela McNiles has knocked down a position. Now he's not playing at right back anymore, which again wasn't his position anyway, but you know, he sort of made that himself, made that his own role. But you know, you can't knock Chambers out the side because he's doing all right. There was no foul from Chambers for Arsenal's third goal against Palace, but we shouldn't have been waiting for that. You know what I mean? Crystal Palace has become a team, and late Wenger era, right through till current day, where we take them lightly, like Watford. And it's not a slight on those two teams. What I'm saying is that we as a club seem to take them lightly, and we shouldn't be. They're two good professional Premier League, you know, they're set Premier League teams now, and we seem to still think of them as like little nephews that you just hold off with one hand, and they'll come swinging at you, and you're just like, whatever, and then just play the ball, you know. But it's not like that anymore. You know, not many teams are like that anymore when it comes to Arsenal, because we just haven't got that mentality anymore. As I've said on previous videos, like at Old Trafford, this Man United side, who are apparently Ollie's back at the wheel now, but you know, we still go out there and we're still worried about Man United when we still treat Crystal Palace like, oh, it's Crystal Palace. It's not like that anymore, and I think that's part of the problem. I don't think enough players get it either. Like, when the goal was scored, before it was disallowed, if you watched Lacazette's reaction, he gets it, he understands it, he knows it's not just about winning, it's about winning at home against a London rival. You know, you could see those sort of things coming through him, but I think other people just see it as a regular game. And that's no bad thing, you know, sometimes you need the balance, but I think we need a little bit more of the, come on boys, not on our turf sort of thing. And again, we're going to get onto this in the next bit. But I think in games like that, you need guile. You don't just need blood and thunder. You need, because that's what they're bringing. Crystal Palace are bringing the blood and thunder. So you need someone to pick them off at will. And who have we got in the club that could do that? Mesut Ozil. Nowhere near the squad again. But with what happened on the pitch, I think this weekend against Wolves, he will be playing. And why is that? Well, because of the Granit Xhaka thing. Xhaka gate. I've made my point on this on social media a lot. I'm going to just do it now because it comes out better than it does probably on written media. I think both sides brought a bit of embarrassment and shame on the club that I support. For me, look, fans they pay to go into the stadium. They pay whatever while they're there. We buy shirts, we buy everything, right? We get a sense of entitlement. Some fans get a sense of entitlement. What we do by buying into the club, it's a club that we love. It's a club that we found that seems to react to us better than other clubs do. You know, when you're finding your feet in football, you normally follow someone in your family. You know, traditionally you follow the team that your dad supports or whatever like that. But sometimes you do just find a club and think, oh, this is the club for me. Something resonates inside you. So we feel like we've then got the chance at the match to say and do something because they're our club. Part of the problem, they're not our clubs anymore. You know, they're owned by millionaire businessmen, not local men that have made the club into what it is or whatever, men and women. Secondly, in my opinion, booing a player, booing a team is never on. I don't do it. I don't do it in the game. I criticise afterwards when I can look back and it's constructive. That's why a lot of the time these videos are a couple of days after everything has happened. Because I like to really, if I went straight away, then some of the things I would say wouldn't be relevant anymore because new things would come out and and it'd be just too raw. So I like to take a step back before I record these sort of things, and that's why I wouldn't boo because there's just something not right. You want to build the team up, you want to get the team going. I've said before on videos about Mustafi, you can see when he makes a mistake, when players make mistakes, it happens, it's gonna happen, it always will happen. You can see in his head, he's like, oh my God, they got on my back. They're going to get at me for this. Oh, what am I going to do now? Yes, as a professional footballer, as a professional athlete, you should be above that, right? Now, I've got a friend who's a season ticket holder, was at the game, he's just to the right of the north bank, or the left of it. He's to the right of the tunnels, and just sort of in the corner section of between the north bank and the tunnels. And he was saying that he didn't boo once. What he did do, he was going, get off, like that. People did cheer when his number went up. That happens. A lot of the time it's because it's not. I don't even think it's aimed at the player a lot of the time. Some of the times it is. Most of the time it is. Some of the times it's just the fact that the manager is reacting. That was what it was like under Wenger, because obviously we didn't make substitutions that often. Sometimes players are booed, or the player coming on is applauded more. So it's to let that player know. I get that. But Xhaka was taking a long time to walk off, and that was angering the fans, apparently. And I get that. The way he took his shirt and the armband off, that is out of order for Xhaka. When it comes to the swearing thing, I ain't got a problem. He shouldn't have done it. He's captain of the club. He shouldn't have done it. He should be above that. He's a professional footballer, professional athlete. He should be above that. He should be able to hold it in. Aboué was booed mercilessly at the Emirates. He just walked off. Probably destroyed him a little bit inside. But he walked off, he handled it, and he was a different type of character. But it's a real dichotomy for me, because I haven't got a problem with someone reacting to being hounded by 60,000 fans, if that's what it felt like to him. I've said before on social media this week, we don't know what's going on behind closed doors with him. The grief he gets on social media all the time is ridiculous. Everyone slaughtering him. The AFTV people will have done videos about how bad he is. And someone said, well, get off social media. He shouldn't have to. Right? You can block and you can mute and whatnot, but he shouldn't have to come off social media if he doesn't want to. Be hounded out because some people don't like the way he plays football. So he's had all this building up, right? After the game, people wished him death threats and his unborn child got cancer. I mean, these are the people that we should be focusing on, not Granit Xhaka telling the fans to F off. Because there's a part of me that says, do you know what? Yeah, fine, say it. I said before, Adebayor at Man City, when he went to Man City, he had racial songs sung about him for nearly 70 minutes of the game. He scores a goal, runs the length of the pitch, and to celebrate in front of the Arsenal fans that have been abusing him racially throughout the whole game. Maybe not all racially, but a lot of verbal abuse going on and whatnot. And he runs it, gives it that. What's the problem? He's giving it back. brilliant. Shows he's got something in him that we never saw, and maybe that's what made the Arsenal fans angry. But you don't then go victim mentality. Oh, he can't do that. He can't do that. Yeah, he can. Yes, he can. He's perfectly within his rights to have a pop back, and that's where I stand with Xhaka. He was perfectly within his rights to turn around and go, whatever. Although, having said that, as I say, as Arsenal captain and as a captain for the badge, remember Tony Evans says, play for the name on the front, they'll remember the name on the back. He should be stripped of the captaincy. I don't think he's ready for it, and I don't think he's the right type of mentality for it. I think he should not play for a month, just to take him out of the limelight. Not because of anything, not punishment for what he did. I think on one game, I think the game in the League Cup would have been his ban from the club, but I think they should take him away from the limelight for a bit, because he's going to be scrutinised all the way, and that's not fair on him either, and he could go again. And that's my final say on it. So then we come to the midweek game against Liverpool. Now, before the game, before the team was announced, I said straight away that after the whole Xhaka gate thing, I said Ozil would play. I thought he'd be captain, and he would be made a scapegoat when we didn't win. Part of that came true. Ozil did play, and he was fantastic. There'll be loads of people who'll call me an Ozil fanboy. My avatar is is Ozil's number on my shirt. Not this one. This is a Boomerang. But what I love about Mesut Ozil is his ability to see and do things that other players wouldn't do, and to have that, you lose other bits. Like, he probably hasn't got the pace that he needs. He definitely gets shrugged off the ball too much. He's not up for fighting for the ball. I've seen him do it a couple of times. You know, he will tackle back. He does get stuck in, but not all the time. Mainly when he feels like he should be doing it, if the camera's on him, sort of thing. But I forego that. You've got Guendouzi, you've got Torreira to do that work for him. Stick him in front of those two, and you've got someone. Only Mesut Ozil could have set up the fourth goal for Arsenal, for Maitland-Niles, who had overrun the ball, run around the keeper, overrun the ball. The ball's coming at an angle. Any other player would have run and tried to smash that at a really tight angle into the far stick. Not Mesut Ozil. He steps over with his right foot and flicks it with his left, so that it gives Ainsley Maitland-Niles a tap in. Only Mesut Ozil could have done that. Not just the skill-wise, it wasn't that skillful. It was skillful enough in a high-profile game. But just the thought-wise, he knew what he was going to do before he'd even done it. So when he came in, that's what we were waiting for from Mesut Ozil. Before the game, I thought we would lose. And lose big. It was always going to be two weakened sides. I mean, I'm not having it. It was all kids. There were a lot of kids on display for Liverpool and for Arsenal, but you still had Milner, Oxlade-Chamberlain. You know, there were still players in and around the first team. We had more first team players, or players that had more first team experience out than Liverpool. Fair enough, you know. Sure, that's what we did. But it was our best attacking display married with our worst defensive display of the season. I haven't seen Arsenal go click forward like that for a long time. I personally think a lot of it was down to Mesut. Joe Willock's goal was an absolute screamer. Origi's first goal was a great goal. To be honest, I didn't see the last goal. His the fifth one for Liverpool. And Oxlade-Chamberlain's goal was an absolute screamer as well. And fair play to Oxlade-Chamberlain for what he said after the game about finding it hard to celebrate. He gets it. He's one of the ones that does get it. But that's, you know, I think Mesut Ozil coming off in the 65th minute, I said, was him making a point. I said, it's made it personal, but maybe he's going to start against Wolves. Maybe Xhaka, well, from what I've heard now, Xhaka is out of the Wolves game. So if we can marry that attacking display against Liverpool with a defensive solidity which has gone missing at the moment, if we can get some kind of, you know, with Leno in goal and probably Sokratis instead of Mustafi in that game, we probably would have come away with a winner. We wouldn't have conceded 5 goals, scored 5 goals at Anfield. Yes, it's a weaker side, but their goalkeeper proved in a penalty shootout. No mug, great saves from Ceballos' penalty. So yeah, it's one of those things that when we're in that position now where if we could do that in the league, if we can click like that against Wolves, we will absolutely batter them at home or away. Anywhere, you know, whenever we play, whoever we play, we've got the ability to attack like that. We just need to find that defensive stability. And that's where the coach should be happening. And that brings me on to my last bit of news. Jose Mourinho has come in from 20-1 to 11-2 to be the next Arsenal manager. Now, that could just be because lots of people are lumping on it because they've heard and seen things in the press. But it means a lot of people are. And normally it's people that are in the know that start it off, really. And he's been sitting around the club. I wouldn't be happy with it. I wouldn't be happy with it. I'm not a big Mourinho fan. I think he's a dinosaur in terms of football. I think football's passed him by as much as it did Arsene Wenger, but in a shorter space of time for Mourinho because of the style of football he played. He's classless, he's arrogant, and he's poisonous, and he would bring a different light onto Arsenal that I wouldn't like. But we'll see how that goes from now on. So I'll do another video next week after the Wolves game. Cheers for watching.